You go into any transition, any change in life, and people will try and prepare you as best they can with cliches and quips, and you just don't know.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Prestige Living Podcast. So with that, who do you want to be?
Hello, welcome to Prestige Living, where we focus on showcasing the ambitious leaders of the community and the entrepreneurs who are directly and indirectly inspiring the individuals of Orange County. I'm your host, Jay O'Brien, with a very special co-host and blood relative, my sister, Amy O'Brien.
Hi.
Today we have some major fitness leaders who are with us who just opened up one of the most innovative gyms in the area and are making some serious traction. The name of the gym is called Work, and today we have all of the owners in here with us. Please welcome Dane, Scott, Mary Beth, and Kara. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hey.
This is awesome. We are like jam-packed in here. One day we're gonna look back at this and you're gonna see like my huge office. And you're gonna be like, remember when we were in that like little storage unit? So let's get started. Tell us what it is that you guys do, when this began, and a little elevator pitch.
Dane, Nicholas.
Dane, this is all up to you.
When this began, this probably began the day that I left the 12, which is about 16 months ago. It was a brainchild of ours to kind of do something our own, Kara and I. And fast forward a few months, and Scott was on his way out. And so he reached out to us, and so the trajectory kind of works where there were just a few conversations, dinners here, dinners there, and it eventually got onto the place where we said, well, let's stop making this an idea and let's start making it a reality. And so what we do is very simple. We take groups of people and we put them through very high intensity workouts, but we do it in a way that's a little bit different from everybody else. So whereas your general boot camp, right, is going to take people and just kick the crap out of them, we actually take a research-based approach to exercise. So like you would work with your personal trainer, that's how I'm going to train all 30 of you at one time. Scott's greatest contribution is just his ability to reach and touch people, and so he really brings that theatrical, experiential element to it. And I mean, he's been a leader of all four of ours for a while now, and so because of that, he's elevated all of our training to that next level. So when you come in, you're not just there to sweat, you're there to actually experience something, and you walk away knowing that you left better than you came in, whether it's your mindset, your actual body, your spirit, whatever that is. In some way we've positively touched you, and so that's kind of what we do at Work.
So on the business level, when you were at the 12, for those of you listening, the 12 is another gym in the area. Were you a trainer there? Did you have ownership there, or is this your very first business you've ever owned?
This is my very first business, so that's kind of why I left. So there are stories in this and that, and the way that I always kind of tell it is that I didn't leave with bad blood. I left simply because I was the first trainer there, and we were on our way to getting that second location, and the ownership at the time was telling me that they wanted me to be a manager, and I wanted an equity piece, and they just simply didn't want to grow that way. And so because they didn't want to grow that way, I took my walking papers, and the rest is history.
Selfish bastard.
Yeah.
You should never focus on bettering yourself. Just other people. So how's the transition been from being like an employee where you go to work, not the pronoun, but where you go to work and you're an employee and you're doing your thing, to now it's like the success of the business is heavily dependent on you and your income stream, right? So like, how has that been for you?
Stressful.
My
wife would probably answer the question better than I would.
He's not all gray yet, but he'll be there soon.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, more than anything, it's just the oh crap, I had no idea. You go into any transition, any change in life, and people will try and prepare you as best they can with cliches and quips, and you just have no clue. Like, I did a ton of research going into this. I thought I couldn't have been more prepared, and then things actually start to go in. The other day I'm opening letters from the employment department of California, and all of my employees have to have this, and this. The person who works 1 hour a day, and those are things you don't know until you experience it. Until you're applying for your licensure for this and you're this and that, you just don't know. You think that business is. You think because you have a simple business model, right? Really, we have a solitary service that we sell a number of ways, but we do one thing and we do it very well.
Right.
That it's a simple concept, right? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Business in the state of California is a very, very complex ideal. No matter what you're doing, whether you're selling chili dogs or you're the CEO of Google, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to have the proper CPAs in place and attorneys and insurance and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So do you guys have a division of labor amongst yourselves, like where everyone's kind of has their role, so to speak?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So Dane is the CEO. He is in charge of the very important back-end work, big decisions, and then little things that are very important, like opening up a bill and going, oh, I got to pay this and do this, and everything from hiring with Kara, and Kara will probably get into her role next, but we each have a specific part that combines the business together as a whole, and without each part, the whole thing will fall apart, or somebody else has to step up. And right now, I think all of us are working like 40 hours a day. So I think that there's no
most
way.
days.
Right. Some days it's less.
Yeah, it's required, right? You start your own business, and it's like your blood, sweat, and tears go into that thing for as long as you have to. There is no more clock in, clock out.
Mm-hmm. Like in
You're
the
all
beginning.
in.
Yeah, Dane and Kara would be there early in the morning, right? We'd put up things. If you come to our gym, it's very like in your office, the camp. It's kind of like that.
Artistic.
Yes.
Got it. That's the word, artistic. Okay.
Aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Clean, simple.
So, Kara, were you responsible for some of that decor?
That was pretty much all of Dane's vision. I mean, he'd tell me, "Hey, we're gonna go get some wood off this guy at Craigslist. We're gonna go to a storage container." I'm like, okay. So fast forward 5 hours later, and we have a U-Haul truck that's beeping because it's actually over capacity. The 3,000-pound weight load for the truck, and it's beeping because we bought so much reclaimed wood from this guy.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, like, what the heck are we going to use this for? But then if you go into this space, we have a giant wall in our training center that is Dane's wood wall, and in our lounge space as well. And then we had tons left over, thinking, okay, like, what are we going to do with all of this? We're like, oh, might as well make all of the baseboards with it. Might as well make all the door frames. So everything that's structural, we had contractors work on. Everything non-structural, so that all the interior space, we designed and made ourselves. So if you come into our lounge, right, we have 2 wood pallet tables. Like, those are actually made from what our dumbbells came in.
Wow, that's really awesome.
Yes.
And I've been there, and I can say for myself, it looks fantastic. You can definitely see there's a personal touch there, which I think makes it even more special, that you guys all invested in it and made your own. I love it. It looks great.
Thank you.
So you guys had a grand opening just over a month ago, so congratulations. It's been 1 month.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to be there and experience one of your killer workouts, which, as we mentioned earlier, left me sore for several days. So tell me a little bit about the grand opening. Tell me what you were feeling on that day. I know that you had a lot of people there, so tell us a little bit about that experience.
I mean, I think it'd be different for all of us. We had this idea of what was going to happen. One of the joys of being a business owner is learning things you don't know. Like I said, we didn't know that the building that we went into, and right, just tech and data companies, it's like such a racket. It's like the bane of my existence. But we have horrible internet in our building. There's nothing we can do about it. So we have another company coming in to hardwire in, but it's going to cost us extra thousands of dollars over the life of the contract just to get them to come into the building, right? So anyway, so we have this horrible internet connection. So we've got the girls up front, Scott and I are doing the classes, and we're thinking like, okay, grand opening, let's get the iPads, let's get sales running. We've got these little credit card swipers.
Right.
No. Mary Beth did 2 swipes, and that was was it. Like the whole system crashed.
Internet froze.
So
nothing worked.
And this whole time, he and I have no idea what's going on, right? So we open up in a normal weekday class, we'll take up to 32 people for safety reasons. On the weekends, we'll have 2 instructors in there. So on that grand opening, when it's a free class, we just want people to come. We want to experience it. We had 48 people in all 3 classes, and so Scott and I have no idea what's going on, and we just see the girls smiling and handing out tank tops, and so we're just thinking like everything's all good to go. So I think it's just different for everybody. I mean, I don't know, girls, what was it like for you guys on that day?
Well, a little nerve-wracking when the plumber was there at 9 p.m. cutting a hole in the wall because we had a leak.
That's right, the night before.
All those unforeseen challenges.
We have awesome friends, and 3 or 4 that, donated at least like 40, 50 hours to helping us throughout their entire summer. And the night before, one of them even brought his sleeping bag in the car and was like, I'm going to sleep over if I have to.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we ended up leaving the space when we thought it was, quote unquote, done, maybe like 2 a.m., to be open at 6 a.m. the next morning. But like Jay said earlier, there's no clock in, clock out. Like when you're a business owner, it's just 24/7, 365. Like you think like every minute of the day when you're not physically there, like what can you be doing to help grow the business? Mm-hmm. But all of us, we've trained in previous locations before, so I think going into this, we didn't realize how big from a get-go that we would be. New studios open up with no clients, and we opened up with, before grand opening day, we sold more than 200 packages.
Wow, that's impressive.
Like 1 month into business, I have an email list of about 550 people. Like our Facebook page is already up to like 1,050 likes. I spoke with a company the other day that they do like charitable donations for every like Facebook check-in, and just looking at their packages, and their goal is to increase Facebook check-ins for companies. And like, okay, well, you're a new business starting out, our average monthly check-ins for new businesses, or gyms rather, nationally is like 50. And I'm like, in a month we have more than 1,200 check-ins. They're like, okay, you don't need us.
That's amazing.
So just the community support and outpouring has been outstanding and phenomenal. I think more than we ever expected it. It's like wildfire, not to be confused with the app Wildfire, but it just spreads.
I definitely think it was highly anticipated. I know we were just waiting for that grand opening date, and I could feel the excitement being there and how happy everyone was to be back together again in such a tight culture. So it was a really neat day.
Yeah. The way I would sum it up is just, it was exciting and it was emotional to see it all come to fruition. Just seeing everybody in there, and then the guys in their element again, teaching. It was pretty amazing.
How long was the build out process?
Well, we had to get married first.
She looks at Dane.
We try to postpone it.
So let me just preface this story. So me and Dane got married May 30th, right? So like most people, we chose to go to the Amazon rainforest for our honeymoon in the middle of nowhere. Of course. 4 hours into the jungle.
Standard.
Where we had one satellite that was on stilts about 20 feet above the water because it was wet season. We didn't know that it's flooded then. Anyway, so they told us that there would be internet the entire time we were there. Not at all. So, Dane's trying to coordinate with contractors, painters, electricians, everybody back here.
Well, we're still bidding out the space. So I'm trying to email Scott to get him in touch with Joe Blow Contractor to have him come do a bid, because these guys they're kind of a fleeting bunch sometimes depending on the kind of work that you want done, and not a lot of people. We're in Orange County. There's 1,000 gyms, but there are no gym builders, right? No one does that as a specialty. So we're asking for some very specific things done, and so it's just hard to try to find the guy. So Scott's emailing me back what to me is 2 days later, to him is 10 minutes later, right? Because we have no internet. So
anyway, we're like standing next to the satellite with like phones in the air, like trying to figure out like how to connect, and that was just
you make a really good point, because like, so one of the things that we touch on in the show is like, you guys are self-employed entrepreneurs, and it's a word that gets thrown out maybe way too much nowadays. But really, when I think of that, it's like you're willing to risk it all to do something for the greater good. Whether it's for personal finance reasons or freedom or autonomy, whatever it is. But like, here you are on your honeymoon, which happens once, hopefully, right? And you're working, you're working on the next venture, like you never turn it off. And I think it takes a very specific type of individual to do that and have that sort of tenacity and commitment. So I mean, that's really what we want to talk about here is like, there's a lot of struggle, there's a lot of sacrifice that's inevitable when you start your own business like this, like being on your honeymoon and working. So once you guys got things up and running as a part of like the shift, what are some ways that you guys are able to have like a competitive advantage in such a saturated market? You know, like everyone nowadays is starting a CrossFit gym, or like everything is like, it's cool to be in the fitness community, and I guess that's a really positive like trend, right? To be healthy. So what sets you guys apart from the competition? Like, how have you found the loyal customers?
I think more than anything, experience, and that has two meanings behind it. Number one, the fact that the cumulative, sum total of us is over 30 years of training experience, and all of us are right around 30 years old, right? We've got about a four-year swing between our ages. But number two, like I said before, what Scott is so good at, and his real key to his craft is bringing an experience and making something that might otherwise be mundane if somebody else was going to give it to you, and making it so palatable for any person, whether you're 73 years old with 2 hip replacements or you're 16 and you're trying to make the high school softball team. He's going to make it fun. He's going to make you feel touched and loved, and all of us, like I said before, have benefited from it. So I attribute a lot of my own training success, especially in the group space, because I'd never done it before I was introduced to Scott, to his mentorship and his tutorship. So I would say experience. And then the other thing, the other thing would just be space. So in answering your question before, we didn't really answer, it took us about 3.5 months start to finish to build out. We have more space, and we did that on purpose. So you'll go into some of these other franchise gyms, not to name names, but their model is based specifically on a plug and play concept, right? They're going to rent out or lease out 12 to 2,400 square feet. They've got the treadmills lined up on one wall. They've got the benches lined up on one wall, and it's great. And if that's what you're buying, cool. They do a very good job. We wanted to train people with more tools, so we got bigger space. We have more pieces of equipment than any other group concept out there, and so because of that, I can do more things with your body than nobody else can. Now, I shouldn't say it that way. Can they? Sure they could, but they don't, and that's the difference.
Yeah, I saw that look, Kara.
So that's what it comes down to is right now, and will that probably put us, because let's be honest, it's a business. Is our goal eventually growth? Absolutely. So will that put a limit as to how fast or how far reaching we can go? Yeah, sure. There's a limit to how many open warehouse spaces there are, and like you mentioned, CrossFit, they've taken up a lot of them.
Right.
But what we do differently, I think, is just that we're always going to be, and that's kind of our promise to our clients, we're always going to be on the cutting edge of new training styles, of new methodologies, of new pieces of equipment, and we're always going to be implementing those things. We're agile enough that we can adapt, but we're also, again, back to experience, we're solid enough and confident enough in our experience that we're going to deliver to them the best of the best from a scientific standpoint, from a research standpoint.
Go ahead.
And can I mention one thing? Each day we do have like actual science behind the workouts. So
that's actually what I was going to ask you. I was going to say, so we probably have a big majority of your client base listening, but for new clients who haven't experienced it, can you walk us through an average workout or what to expect when they go to work?
Yeah. Absolutely. So what a CrossFit, most people don't know how it originated and why it originated. It originated after 9/11. The gentleman that actually created it wanted to create the workouts for survival techniques for the military, the police officers, and the firefighters. Amazing cause. And the workouts are named after 2 things that will motivate men.
Women.
One. You got it.
That's one of them.
Yeah. And then the other one is a fallen soldier. So I don't know if all of them, but, and I don't want to speak out of context, but some of the workouts are named after a fallen soldier. So before the WOD, the workout of the day, they'll say, we're doing this for so-and-so Ryan. He did this. So they'll get some type of camaraderie push in the beginning. And I think that's why the community grew so much. Is because people wanted to link together for a common good, even if they're getting their butt kicked and doing 100 wall balls and they can't move anymore. I love that though. So we want to be like CrossFit in the community aspect, and that's what we provide at our space. So you'll find when you come to our workout, sometimes we're doing partner exercises. Dane will be next to a lady who needs to lose, or a man, 50 pounds, and he'll be encouraging her. Mary Beth will be next to, we're all next to somebody, helping them get to that next level and not saying, oh, they probably can't do that or can't do this. On a Monday through Saturday, we do have different movements too. So on Monday it's called rooted. And when you think of rooted, what do you think of?
Trees, anchored, foundation, great.
That's right. Your legs, right? Your base. So on that day we're working the most important part, quotes, of your body, your legs. On Tuesday we're doing what's called force. So most of your pushing muscles. So like yesterday, Dane created a workout. We're doing high repetitions for 1 month. We're doing an endurance phase. We'll probably get into that in a sec. But we're doing mostly chest, triceps, and shoulders. And we can cater it to women and men, which is really cool. Because I know women don't want to look like men most of the time, and men don't want to look like women.
Speak for yourself there.
And then Wednesday is called pulse, and it is what the title says. Your heart rate is high and you're moving. So today we actually did pulse, where we did 4 rounds of 10 minutes, pretty hardcore endurance work where we're using ropes. So Dane created a workout where you're doing 3 different types of movements on the ropes. And then after that, Jay, please watch your water.
Sorry, man. I was so upset by it that I just had to knock my shit over.
I hate cardio. He's talking about cardio. That sounds horrible.
Okay, sorry. Go on.
It was actually really good.
That's awesome.
Go on.
So we have.
I'll relax.
We're doing rope work today, and then mixed with some box work, and then after that we're throwing in some abs. So we have my dad and I actually. The pull-ups are made out of pipes. 1-inch pipes that we bought at Home Depot, and when you talk about we put our hands on it, we really put the screws into the wall, we really put the pipes into the wall,
which if you've ever drilled into concrete, it's a lot of fun. He and his dad have a great time doing it. Smiles the entire time.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But great memories. And so we're doing things with abs on the wall, and we have wall balls and slam balls. And if you don't know what those are, come to our gym so you can experience it. And you'd love to see what's different and challenging. And then on a Thursday, we do what's called reach. So we're pulling things towards your body. So we're doing back, your biceps. We're doing a little bit of hamstrings, without getting too technical. And then on Friday, it's called impact. It's more of an athletic day, where we're turning an everyday citizen into an athlete, where you're jumping on boxes. Yeah, you're sprinting, we have sleds at the gym, which are super fun. They're very challenging.
Those.
Were they fun, James?
They were very fun.
There you go.
And I was definitely very sore. Great workout.
Okay, good.
I'd never used one of those before. I'd never actually even seen one. So it was really cool. I was intimidated at first, but it was a great workout.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And then what's Saturday and
it's called overtime.
Okay.
An actual workout.
Yeah, so like this most recent Saturday, we did literally each circuit was kind of centralized on one of those movements from all around the week. So we weren't just jumping from space to space to space. You were just 3 exercises in a row, something you would have done on Monday rooted. 3 leg movements right in a row. Boom. The next one, 3 pushing movements right in a row. Boom. The next one, 3 pulling movements right in a row. The entire time your heart rate's up, so that cardio component's a piece of it. Then the plyometric from like Fridays. So we call it overtime, and it's that culmination of the entire week.
Yeah, and I think, sorry.
No, please.
I was going to say, when we were naming the names of the week, we all got together and were brainstorming. I mean, threw out a couple different options, like 3 or 4 options for each day of the week. And we're like, yeah, okay, let's sit on that, yeah. And then it came to Saturday, and we're like, okay, what do we call Saturday? Like combining all the movements of the week, like you're really working hard, and then Mary Beth just shoots out overtime, and it was like, drop mic, walk off stage, we're like, that's it, that's done.
Perfect.
But just to kind of piggyback off Scott, I think what kind of sets us apart or differentiates us is that, there's some gyms out there that will focus on just certain muscles, more of like a bodybuilder type training. Like we're going to do biceps and triceps, or we're going to do, chest and back. And other gyms are competitors that focus on full body workouts, and they are corporate. So it'll come down from corporate, and they're just spread out to each location throughout the entire country. So what that means is maybe you're lifting heavy shoulders on a Monday, maybe you're lifting heavy shoulders on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. But for us, Scott was explaining the days of the week, we focus on movements. So which muscle groups will create an upper body push? So our Tuesday is called force, right? That is chest, triceps, shoulders, but we may not train them and isolate them individually. We're going to train them as a whole, because our tagline, right? Train the way that your body was designed to work. Your body creates an upper body push with those muscle groups. How does your body pull things? How does your body reach things towards you? Like our Thursday day of the week. Okay, well, these muscles do that. Well, we're going to train those muscles congruently. We're going to put them all together and put your body like almost in real life situations.
Yeah, I love that. It's very functional in that regard.
So
And Sunday is rest.
Sunday is nowhere.
So you guys are closed on
We're
Sundays.
closed on Sundays, yeah.
And it's all group, right? Like you can't just go in there and start like working out. It's all scheduled class trainings.
I mean, you can. You're gonna get teased a lot. We've got a couple of those. They'll come. They'll sign up for class. They'll do their own thing. It's cool. I mean, whatever.
How many classes a day do you have?
Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, 8. On Fridays, we don't have that late class. And then on Saturdays, there's 3 in the morning.
Start at 5 a.m. and last class is 6:30 at night.
Wow.
And then we have the nooners that come at noon. Mary Beth teaches the noon class, so people that want to leave work real quick, get out some stress, maybe get their endorphins up, go back to work, kick some butt, make some more money.
Hang out for a little while too.
Yeah, they don't want to go back to work.
No
they
one
come
wants
to
to
work.
go back to work.
Yeah.
So is it
Is
just
that because Mary Beth's there?
Yeah, exactly. Time out now.
is it just you 4 at this point?
Just
so
us.
there's no
Yeah.
employees yet.
No, so
We're all
any one
employees.
day, Dane is CEO and front desk and
And
janitor
janitor.
and trainer, and we kind of each do our own part.
And then so when it comes to training and you have 8 classes, is Scott training all 8 classes?
No, Kara is.
Okay.
She's
Very
very
well.
No, so we split it up.
How do you split it up?
So it's kind of funny. There's a reason why we have the trainers training at certain times, and all of this stuff, by the way, was lots of conversations to get to where. So when we talk to people about this, it took a lot of yes and no's and pulls and da da da. And Dan can kind of go into why we wanted the schedule the way that it is.
Well, more than anything, and it's funny, you mentioned like the noon class, which Mary Beth has done a phenomenal job with. We almost didn't add it because at first we're looking at, feasibility, right? And it's kind of a catch-22, right? The more classes I open up, the more options you have as a consumer, which is great. But the way that we're compensated and the way everybody compensates is going to be there's a base plus a per head. So as trainers, because we're paying ourselves the instructor rate for now, right? The more classes I open up, the more options you have. So it's going to get thinner, that spread across.
Yep.
So we almost didn't do it. We kind of wanted to force people towards the evening or the morning time slots to try and figure that out. But we opened it up, and immediately, she was having 17 people in her first week in that class. And so it's really neat. Like these guys said, it's a great opportunity for somebody who's coming from work, who's or maybe somebody who works their own flexible hours, and that's the start of their day, whatever. But it's cool because we have the showers, we have those amenities for people to clean up. But yeah, with the scheduling, the goal more than anything was just to create balance. What you find anywhere, and I get it, man. I have clients, personal training clients, who they've only trained with me. They'll never train with anybody else. And when I'm done training personal training clients, they'll never have a personal trainer again. I get it. We wanted to get away from that. People have their favorites. We want us all to be their favorite. And even though that won't happen, people will gravitate towards one instructor over the other. That's cool. Eventually, again, we are going to grow. And so people need to be willing or capable to train with more than one instructor so that when, I go to plant a new work or Scott goes to go plant a new work or whatever, we don't just have this drop in usership, which you see a lot. Obviously, it's the fitness industry. There's turnover, right? So we want to create a space where, number one, there's a high quality of living. So that's why he's not doing the 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. every day, right? So he's not at 3:30 a.m. every single day. He gets a mix throughout his schedule. He gets days to sleep in. We all do. Same thing. We all have late nights. Yeah, well.
Kids.
Yeah. 3 of us do. No. So that's kind of what we wanted to do, so that as we grow, there's that quality of life component as well for instructors, that if they need to do other things to make ends meet, and or they just need to have mornings to themselves, there is that mix for people.
Yeah, you touched on something that I ask most people on the show, and specifically in the fitness world, or anything that's like a direct output from your personal input, is scalability. It's a pretty loaded question, but anticipated growth is one thing, but you're right, people will identify with you as the trainer, and it's like, I want you and only you. I was speaking to an individual recently, and she goes to the spin class, and she went there one day, and her typical spin instructor was not there. She left.
She bounced.
And so like it's scary, because obviously that's great that there's this personal interaction and whatnot, but then from a business standpoint, how does it grow? And not only just how does it grow when you expand, but how does it even grow organically and internally? Because if you've got 32 people in a class and 8 classes, then that's what, 250-ish people, right? So like, that's it, right? So even if you sell out every single time, your income is very predictable. That is what it will always and forever be. So have you guys given it much thought as to how to scale that in the fitness world, like where you can actually grow exponentially without physically touching everyone?
Yeah.
It's a tough thing to think about.
It's really tough, yeah, but you're absolutely right. I mean, the quick solution, the easy solution is add more classes, right? And then after you fill those classes, you're absolutely right. There is a fixed point at which we can no longer grow. The nice thing about that is, if you look at our numbers, in order to meet that from a revenue stream standpoint, we're looking at like a 60% margin, right, over our costs, which is nice.
Yep.
But then, yeah, so how do you scale it? How do you go beyond? And I think that's kind of what we're trying to lay the foundation for right now. What we want to do, and I started telling people this very early on, but for me is, right, I'm a trainer, I'm the instructor, yada yada, but I'm also the CEO. I'm responsible for growing this business and nurturing it to make sure that these guys are taken care of. So what I want to do, and I say it kind of jokingly, but I want to go find other Scott Perrys.
Yep.
I'm very much into equipping, what I call it people investment. So I love the idea of going out and finding maybe another instructor, another trainer in another area, something that's close enough that the brand actually means something, but far enough away that we don't cannibalize our existing membership base.
Exactly.
Right? And I want to find somebody who's just as passionate, just as dedicated, just as motivated, but maybe doesn't have the back-end skill set, or maybe has never aspired to more. Maybe they didn't know that it was possible. I had no clue. I came from a personal training background begrudgingly, right? My background, my degrees in exercise science. I went into personal training because it's how I could make the most money out of college, and I always thought myself above it when I was training at Equinox. When I was, I'm going to go here next. I'm going to go here next. I'm going to go here next. And it was always to another job. And it wasn't until my time with the 12 and working with Scott and the owners over there that it opened my eyes to, oh my gosh, this is possible. Because everyone always asks, are you going to open a gym? And I'm like, I don't love the traditional gym model, but I didn't know another way. So my goal would be to find other trainers who maybe just don't know another way and show them this is something that you can plug and play. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of CrossFit and their licensing model, right? Because it's not a franchise, it's a licensing model, and people don't really understand that, is that they allow those owners of the separate boxes to kind of do it their own way. And I would want to have a little bit more corporate control than they have. I would want to have a little more input, a little more oversight, but that would be the idea, is going around and kind of planting these things, almost like churches go around and plant, and you find one leader or one instructor that you can really build around, spend enough time there to equip them, and then when they're ready to go, they're ready to go. Our model is built around giving other people equity, so each one would be a separate entity. Obviously the original business owners will have a piece, but that person who's there, blood, sweat, and tears, like you said in the intro, that person's taking home the lion's share of their own effort. And I think that's how you incentivize people in the long run.
Absolutely.
Give them ownership.
And one more thing too, we want to pay our trainers freaking well.
Yeah.
We pay them up to $100 an hour.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
great.
You can't make that at Equinox. You definitely not make that at 24 Fitness, at LA Fitness.
Well, when you take care of people, they take care of you. So
Yeah.
That's
I've
exactly
always
right.
believed that.
We're very much in like this shift right now where the millennials are now the highest population ever in history, and because the millennials are in their 20s and 30s, they're at the cusp of being able to make changes in, like, from an industrial perspective. It's not just, well, we do what the baby boomers have placed before us. Now it's like, well, we don't like wearing a suit to work every day, and so we just won't.
Yeah.
And because that works in there's strength in numbers, it's like, shit, now people don't wear suits to work, like in the tech world, for example. And it's happening all over the place, and it's definitely happening in the work-life balance. It's not like the 8 to 5 grind, 1 hour lunch break, this and like this cut and dry mentality anymore. It's like the millennials have come to the table now and have started their own business ventures and saying, we want to appreciate the individuals and actually like empower them, and it's causing this enormous shift in how business is done today, even with social media and how people are recognized, and it's people respond way differently. It's no longer like the fucking 30-day return policy, sorry, it's like you gotta have a heart, there's gotta be like a humanistic element to it, and the more millennials are controlling that shift, it's just incredible to see what the opportunities are, you know?
Yeah.
That's really refreshing to hear.
And I would say even more powerful than like as millennial, you know, we want like work-life integration rather than just like work-life balance. Like there is no clear separation anymore. It's like work and life has now become one. You know, so 30 years ago when our parents worked, or parents still work for the same company for 35 years, like you don't have that nowadays. Now I think the average tenure is like 2 to 5 years of a millennial at a given company. So just like Dane was saying, like a way to empower them and help us grow at the same time is giving them equity, right? We feel like we want to strive and work for a greater purpose, a greater passion. You know, everybody says like, do what makes you happy, like live with a purpose. You know, back in the day, it's like I have my 9 to 5, I get paid and then that's it, and then I go home. But that's not really like the way of life anymore.
Right. There's not that complacency, and the 2 to 5 year turnover. It's because now there's this like perpetual growth where people will go work at the 12 or 24 hour or wherever, get what they needed to get out of it for their own personal growth, move on, not just like I'm content with for doing this for 30 years and making X amount of dollars annually and whatever. So it's really awesome. So last question, why do you guys call it work?
We were talking about this recently, actually. We were going back and forth with different names, and
Kara came up with work.
Yeah, it was literally just kind of what about this, what about that, and we'd text each other, and it was over a couple weeks span, and it's like, okay, write something on the back of an envelope because it came to you, you know, or whatever, and we're just and then Kara comes home, and we were thinking of actually our class name Force, I think, right? We were thinking of Force, we were thinking of different things. And then...
Well, my first idea was The Office.
The Office.
Yeah, that's cool, too.
I know. That's cool, well, you know, me and Dean always talked about kind of creating that Starbucks, like, third space, right? Like, people don't say when they're going to Starbucks, like, I'm going to get a coffee. They say, I'm going to Starbucks. Like, you have home, you have work, and then you have that third space. So we wanted...
We always talk about third space.
I know you do.
Jay, this is going to be your third space. Very soon.
Get rid of the sleds and we'll talk.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wanted something like really kitschy, and then was thinking like, okay, in terms of like marketing, what's going to be really great in a t-shirt, like, you know, and then just one day it just came to me like, what about work? Like, I'm going to go to work, got to get to work, like hard work of art. You know, now I have t-shirt ideas for the next like 2 years. Probably last me. And then also more importantly, I mean, you've touched it so many times before, and at our wedding, my dad said it best. You know, my parents have been married for 42 years. The pastor asked, you know, what's the secret to marriage? And he's like, the secret is there is no secret. It's hard work. And that's what it takes. That's what it takes to achieve results in the gym. Work. Everybody wants, you know, that easy pill, that ezy solution. And we're here to say, nope.
You gotta work.
It takes work.
Yeah, it's the Gary Vee model for sure. When I remember being on Facebook like a few weeks back, and when the name was first revealed, like, and you know, I knew you guys were working on something was going on or whatever, and then boom, the name was revealed, and I saw it for the very first time. I remember thinking like, fuck. That is the fucking name right there. Like, that is it. Because obviously the second someone reads it, they go, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to work. Yeah. Like, it just makes sense, and it's like very cohesive in a number of different facets. But anyway, let's start plugging some shit for you guys. So first and foremost, where are you located?
We're located at 16782 Hale Avenue, Suite B. So it's basically between the district and Diamond Jamboree Shopping Center. So
what city is that in?
That's Irvine. Okay. So go up Jamboree and make a left on Alton, and then we're just the first right is a little side street, and so you'll find us over there. It's a big building with a green, like, oxidized bronze awning, and that's where we're at. So right in the middle of Irvine, like a mile from the 55, a mile from the 405, right off the freeway off of Jamboree. So.
And do people just show up? Do they go online first, sign up? Anything happen in advance?
Please go online.
Okay, what's the website?
The website is We Work For It, all words spelled out, weworkforit.com. And now and into perpetuity, as far as we can see, we're going to be operating a first class free. We want people to be able to try it before they buy it. So you go on, create an account. It's very simple. You just click the buy classes button. Doesn't mean you have to buy anything, but that's how you get to the back end of our site. So once you're at weworkforit.com, click buy classes, create an account, and then underneath the basically the options, the pricing options, you'll see first class free. So you don't have to enter a promo code, you don't have to enter anything. Just put it in your cart and then schedule your class. You're good to go.
Okay, and Instagram, Facebook?
Instagram is at We Work Here, and then Facebook you just find us under work.
Okay, perfect. So that's at We Work Here, weworkforit.com.
That's right.
Unfortunately, every other combination with the word work in it was already
It's
taken.
already taken. Yeah, exactly.
I get it. That's
We're
a
trying
tough
like
one.
15 underscores in a row, then a capital W.
I mean,
yeah.
you get clients all the time. Like, yeah, you know, like I googled like work.com, and it led me to like a blue jeans manufacturer.
And they were
company.
surprised that it's not the new gym down the street that popped up on the Google results.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being on the show. Again, Dane, Scott, Mary Beth, and Kara. You guys are awesome. I will support the gym. I support it
When
in
you
my
come
head and in my
Jay,
heart.
when?
In your heart.
No.
Hey, that's all that
And
matters.
don't leave your other trainer if you have a great trainer. But when are you going to come to our gym?
Okay.
Let's end the podcast.
Pressure's
with
on.
All right,
Jay.
so
Plan of action.
I'm all about accountability.
Plan
So
of action.
let's do
Jay
this.
wants to know when you're going to buy the first house.
Let's
from
do
him.
this. I'm going to pull up my
Yeah.
calendar right now.
Okay.
So let's do it.
Because I know you're a morning guy.
Yeah.
And I know you have a calendar in your car.
I do. I've been forced to be a morning guy. I never was before, but I mean, you know, like when you work so much, you have to substitute sleep. You have to.
Oh, that
Yep.
thing.
All right, we're gonna do a week after next, and I'm gonna do it on October 5th.
October 5th, nice.
It's
Okay.
a Monday.
Time.
It's a Monday,
It's a Monday.
October 5th.
Legs.
Legs
I'm
it
in.
is.
Yes.
That's fine.
So whoever podcast you're going to have on October 6th, if you can't sit in your seat.
Well,
you've done a
actually,
good
let me
job.
ask you this then: what's your favorite day?
All of them, right? Yeah, all of them are my favorite.
Mary Beth, what's your,
Sunday when we're off.
Yeah, okay, so the girls are honest. So, what's your personal favorite day?
Leg day.
Leg day is your favorite.
But it's
Well, ours
it's
is-
kind of a tie.
She always has her man's
Wait,
back.
wait. Go ahead.
It's a tie with Friday.
Yeah.
Just that athletic conditioning, all out.
Yeah.
Okay.
How tough can you be?
You know what I should do? Here's the deal. I'm gonna go the day that we release this podcast.
Okay.
All right.
That's what
nice.
I'll do.
Love it.
He's going to hold on for like 2
Sorry guys,
Not airing.
the mics were all off the whole time.
There's
I
some
couldn't
really
air
good
it.
interviews that came in, guys. I had to get them in before you.
Cool guys, thanks for being on the show. Again, we really appreciate it, and I'll see you at work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you would like to be on the Prestige Living podcast or know someone that would be a great guest, go to www.prestigelivingpodcast.com